Okay, I call the Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. This meeting is being conducted by video conference. This meeting is being conducted in person at City Hall and video conference. Public may participate in this meeting by coming to City Hall, joining the Zoom webinar, or watching on the city's YouTube channel or Comcast cable channel 30 within city limits. There will be opportunities for the public to speak during the public hearing. If you would like to address the commission, you may come to City Hall. Seating in chambers is limited, and speakers will be asked to leave after the part of the meeting you're interested in is finished. If you're interested in speaking, please let staff know by emailing ocr@milwaukieoregon.gov for those on Zoom, or submitting a yellow comment card for those in City Hall. When it's time to take public comment, staff will monitor the comment cards, email inbox, the Zoom participant list, and chat. We will take comments in the order they are received and seen. Written comments may be emailed to ocr@milwaukieoregon.gov. The public may also participate in the Zoom webinar by phone by dialing 1-253-215-8782, entering webinar ID 831-8669-0512, and passcode 023745. If you're calling in through Zoom and would like to make a comment, dial *9 to raise your hand. Spanish translation services are available upon request. The public is asked to request translation and other meeting accessibility services at least 48 hours before the meeting. Contamos con servicio de traducción al español cuando sea solicitado. Se pide al público que solicite servicios de traducción y otros servicios de accesibilidad para reuniones por lo menos 48 horas antes de la reunión. Translation services are also available in other languages. I feel like I'm missing something.
I think they want us to approve minutes.
No, it's 25 out of 29.
Yeah,
It's on 20.
but it's asking if there's discussion about the February 8th, 2022 commission minutes. So I guess we are in the process of approving the commission minutes. Does anybody have any comments on the commission minutes?
No.
No, okay. Then I would entertain a motion to approve said minutes.
I move to approve the February 8th, 2022 Redevelopment Commission meeting minutes.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the February 8th, 2022 Redevelopment Commission meeting minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved unanimously. The 5-year action plan adoption. This is a resolution, and it will be introduced by the MRC Executive Director, Kelly Brooks.
Good evening. Yes, so we're going to do two things. We're going to formally adopt the action plan first, and then we'll adopt the budget that was created based on the 5-year action plan. Just to recap, you all authorized the creation of a community advisory committee in September of 2020 to help create an action plan for the urban renewal area. In March of 2021, you appointed membership to that body. And then from March through the fall, that group worked to create the 5-year action plan that you all are adopting tonight. We last met to review the details of that in February. We talked through the options in December. And then in February, we said, this looks pretty good. We were doing some more public outreach, and we agreed at that time that we would come back and formally adopt it now. So that's why we're here. I do have a couple pretty minor edits that I just want to call your attention to. One, thank you, Commissioner Beatty pointed out to me. It's actually on page MRC 11 of your packet. There is a chart that tracks the change in the forecasted amount between when we originally did the urban renewal area financial analysis and when we redid it again in 2021. The text, the chart is fine. The chart is accurate, but the text that's connected to it it doesn't make any sense because it talks about a change in revenue. What the chart is actually showing you is a decrease in assessed value. So that's where you have the 800 million on the vertical axis basis. That's with the total decrease in assessed value. The assessed value is what gets us to the reduced total revenue for the fund. But so I have clarified that in the report now so that when you look at the chart, it actually makes sense. So thank you for pointing it out. There's a couple other ones that I also am going to correct that I just want to call your attention to. In the attachment that calls out the projects, I show $500,000 for downtown Main Street enhancements. That's on page 18 of the report. But in the actual document, it says $425,000. So I'm going to make it match the actual attachment, which is what's in the budget. So I'll correct that dollar amount so it's consistent. And then the other place where I'm going to correct a dollar amount to make it consistent is in the transit stop improvements. In the budget, we had bumped that up to $300,000 instead of $150,000, and it's still referenced as $150,000 in my attachment. So I'm going to make those three changes, take the draft watermark off, and add today's adoption date, assuming you all are okay. But there have been no other changes made to it since we discussed the substance of the document back in February. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm sorry, this probably feels very rushed to you. And I'm happy to talk to you more at length anytime about it. But we did have a really great group of community members who helped us kind of distill down a very large plan with some lofty goals and try to break it into what we thought we could do in the first 5 years. And it was really helpful. And then Commissioner Heisey was our representative to the advisory body. And the next step for them, just so you all know, is we'll be getting them back together, the band back together again in September. To start working through the criteria for those development programs. As you all know, the investments go in two areas. We do economic development programming, more like grants for small businesses and storefront improvement. Then we have capital projects. For those grants, we need to decide, what are, who's eligible? What should the grant award size be? How do we make sure that it works really well for the folks that would apply? And for that, I am largely handing the torch off to my colleague, Community Development Director Joseph Briglio, to help lead that process with Janine. I'll definitely be there convening the table, but the folks over in the Community Development Department will be really helping guide that, because a lot of those programs work in concert with our CET program. And other kind of economic development work that they have going on as well. So that's the next step for us. I see questions. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yep.
So just to be clear that I understand it, and also for Councilor Khosrowshahi, this budget, this is a $10 million pot of money, which is some money that's come into the program through the TIF, through the tax increment that's come in, and bonding out for, and does it look to me like 6 million you're looking to bond out for?
Yes. So you have a total set of investments. We didn't quite use all of our increment. So we had estimated that we'd had about $10 million to spend. This plan gets you, I can't remember the right dollar amount on top of my head, but just under 10 million. And the way that the tax increment financing works is you do use that increment to issue debt to do these projects. So we are bonding on that full amount. And that's why you see the debt payments in the budget that's adopted as well. So we do use debt to build these projects and run these programs. Mayor? Or
So I have-
Chair, sorry.
No, that's all right. I have a couple questions on the chart showing the increase. We have what, 1, 2, 3, 4 fairly large buildings. Well, okay, not counting what happens at Hillside, and I don't even know how that affects any. They don't pay any taxes, right?
Right, they're not included in the,
So even if they put in market rate units,
I didn't assume them in what I provided. And I can check that, but they weren't a part of the calculus. But go ahead and finish your question.
so this, is a very pretty swoopy line. I can only imagine that if 4 large buildings come into downtown Milwaukee over a period of 2 years, that what it's going to do is do a big bump and then continue.
Yes, that's a really, so great question. And that was why it was really fun. That's why I really appreciated working with Tiberius Solutions, because this was far outside my knowledge base. And so what I did is I walked through those exact, and luckily at the time I was sitting in the community development director's seat, so I had pretty good information. And I walked site by site through the ones that I knew were in the pipeline, or very likely to be in the pipeline in this time frame. I would actually say that, yes, it could spike. He's flattening things out to make a forecast. So yes, it shouldn't change the way we're assuming financing for the first 5 years. We may need to do some reconciliation in the next 5 years. That's why we'll do an updated financial forecast before we do this again. But I actually feel really good. I think the change was when we did this the last time, we were assuming like the parking lot, I always point the wrong direction. But the Main Street, Harrison and Main would go, and I pulled that back based on where we are. So there were some sites that we had assumed before that I now see it, were at the time we see are on a slower trajectory. And to be conservative, we pulled those back. And I think that's the main difference between the two.
The only reason I ask is, I mean, we, at least those of us that worked on the last bond we did, saw the pretty, feels exorbitant interest rates that we pay for a bond. And given that within 2 years, potentially, that could well have jumped significantly and then flatten out, right, after that. But it begs the question, does it make sense to bond a bunch of money that may come in within that period of that bond already? With, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing a poor job of it, but you
I think
a bunch of the money is going to go to the bank, right?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I understand. And I think this is a topic for us and for, I know that Bonnie and I'll be working on, and Peter, is, we're giving you our best projection of the world. And in this case, we used pretty conservative interest rates on purpose. So that I felt like we were on sound footing moving forward. Now that's different than, we need to make smart choices. So we've got the set of projects we want to do now. We have the timeframes we want to do those projects in, and we'll be working over the next few months to work with the consulting team, bond counsel, and others to really assess what's in the financial best interest of the city. So I don't know if you want to speak to that more directly, but
I was just going to say that typically you can't bond for future. So when we go out for a bond, it's going to be based off of the historical facts that we know of today. And then, so when we go to bond counsel and to our financial advisor, they're going to take a look at the portfolio for the fund in total. And then they will assess that whether or not we can bond for the 6.5 million, which is in the budget. So, but based off of the tax increment financing that was projected through Tiberius, those are the funds that we are expected that we can actually go out for a bond and get a good, valuable rate.
can I ask you a follow-up to make sure I'm understanding your question? Or do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I understand all that. It was kind of not the point. The point was more of, would it make more sense to delay a couple of years and let those developments occur, therefore saving bonding a bunch of money?
Yeah, I think you risk the higher interest rates versus taking out more debt.
I assumed they'd gone up already. They have.
The interest rates, yeah, they've gone up, but they're still at a historic low. So there is potential if you are going to wait a couple of years, they can go even much higher than what they are today. You never know. But it's kind of a gamble.
So it's a question of,
Yeah.
would it balance the higher interest rates
Right.
by having a lower bond, the lower amount of money that you were actually bonding?
So you're planning to bond soon? I thought from reading it that the bonding was in 2023. No?
Well, I mean, we'd been talking about aiming for September.
Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't mean all those projects will happen starting in September. So most of the funding you'll see is loaded towards the next fiscal year, not this fiscal year, because we have quite a bit of work to do to get ready. But yeah, no, we were aiming for the fall.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, I think we want to be smart, Mayor. We're not interested in putting the city in a bad financial position, and markets are changing pretty rapidly right now. So make the best decision we can make at the time.
Well, and Counselor, just so you know, we are looking at 2 bond issuances, one for MRC and one for the city. And the city one would be next fall, so 2023 if we did proceed.
The city one would be,
2023, that one would be that would be for SAFE and those discussions for construction.
right. I guess I just thought, looking at these documents, for some reason, I thought the bonding for this one was next year. I do take the point that, interest rates could be higher next year, for sure.
And we are, well, last thing I may not help, honestly, but we are different here. I mean, this is a debt financing tool. That's what it is. So with our utility funds, we have choices. We can decide to keep certain things moving or, and delay, kind of move things around. This is a debt financing tool. So we start our work by issuing the debt.
Okay. My other 2 questions are kind of more detailed questions. On the tenant improvements, the $1 million there, would, for example, the kind of venting system that a restaurant needs to be able to cook most things be within the realm of things that could be?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, that's been my example that I've talked.
What?
It's been kind of the example I've used as I've talked. Yeah, I think, because I always think about the beer store, and it's just the one I tell because I understand it. So absolutely, something like that, that's a piece of equipment that could have a meaningful impact on a business, in an existing business that could be able to thrive, would be eligible. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on developer assistance, talks about the excise tax and using this to augment that. The remaining 50% to offset development costs on projects that do not involve affordable housing, but bring some other benefit to the city that we want, like.
Right. Honestly, I pulled it directly from the originally adopted plan. So originally it was just developer assistance. And it's a very, if you go back to the plan, it can go towards any number of things. It's a pretty flexible pot of funds that the city can use to help get a development across the finish line. So, for a site that's underutilized, it's a pretty flexible pot. So essentially what we did is we carved off half of that and said it had to be only used on affordable housing, and the rest remained as originally envisioned by the plan. But yes, it must, we have verbiage in the plan that makes it clear it needs to be achieving an economic development goal or purpose of the city. Otherwise, there would be no point in spending it.
Right. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Developers can give you lots of points.
Right. But it is flexible, which is why I can't get super specific.
But is that what you were talking about when the band gets back together? Those are the kind of details we're going to be hammering out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's those development programs that need to get fleshed out. And I believe everyone has an interest. You all have an interest, the Community Advisory Committee, that's when you can kind of dig into those pieces a little bit more and say, what kind of goals and objectives do we really want to set for these programs to make sure we get what we want for the money.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess my last one, improved access to opportunity sites, $250,000, and it talks about a small property adjacent to Harrison Street. What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's vague for a reason as well. So we've talked a lot about connections and the future TSP and trying to figure out what we need to do there. We don't know what that is. So basically this is a placeholder of, and that is the kind of the last opportunity site that needs access. There's a transportation challenge there. So this is here if as we get further along in deciding what we need, if we need to purchase right away, we need to do something.
So we're talking Harrison and 32nd?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what wasn't clear. It just says Harrison Street. So I was like,
Oh, yeah, no, sorry.
where are we talking?
My apologies. Yeah, it's about the Central Milwaukie Bikeway.
Yeah, I thought maybe it had something to do with the park, access to the park, or who knows?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
just so we don't lose, if something pops up that really helps us figure out access and safety there.
Yeah.
That we have a pot of
No,
resources. to do that.
that's a good placeholder for that project up there. I think that's all I had.
Awesome. Okay. With that, I really do appreciate all of your time. Thank you very much for following along and supporting us as we've gone. And there's quite a bit more work to do, but at least now we have the money and the buckets to do that work.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, having been on the committee that drafted the whole plan in the first place, it's exciting to see it moving. Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of a little bit amazing that we're still on council.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, these things are the kind of thing that a wise council, it's like planting a tree, right? Planting a tree that under whose shade you don't expect to sit.
Well, but that goes to the point, Kelly's point, that these are really intended to be debt. I mean, you're supposed to take out the debt and do the projects, you know, earlier than at year 40 or whatever it is.
Right, right. No, I know that. It's it's just the unique, you know, if we were just counting on the 3% increase over time, that'd be one thing. But we're in this unique situation where
Yeah, lots
we're
of,
going to increase the development value of this downtown probably by double.
yeah, yeah. Well, I will be interested to see in 5 years if the projection has, yeah, gone back to where it was or higher.
Yeah.
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 And
Let's
we'll have a
hope.
new TSP. And I mean, I think the next 5-year increment of this will be really exciting, I think.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, with that, I think there's no other questions, discussions. I don't think we even have a question about input on this part.
There is a little bit of process in the script.
There is a what?
There's two motions.
Right, no, I see that, so. but
So the
there's no-
resolution is easy and then the
Yep.
budget has more formalities
Yep.
to it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resolution adopting a 5-year action plan.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution adopting a 5-year action plan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. The resolution adopting the 5-year action plan passes unanimously. The Biennium 2023-2024 MRC Milwaukie Redevelopment Commission budget adoption hearing, a resolution, public hearing on the proposed redevelopment commission budget is called to order. The purpose of this hearing is to hear the staff report, take public comment, deliberate, and consider adopting the budget. Does any commissioner wish to announce an actual or potential conflict of interest?
No.
Nor do I.
Okay, so similar to the city's budget process, the Milwaukie Redevelopment Commission, also with the Budget Committee, presented a proposed budget to the commission on May 7th. The public hearing with the commission occurred on May 7th, and at that time, the commission approved the budget. The approved budget consists of a total of $9,883,000. The biennium budget includes debt proceeds of $6.5 million in fiscal year 2023 that we discussed tonight, in addition to capital outlay expenses of $5.3 million. Additional appropriations are included to cover debt expenses and other contractual services. And overall, the budget meets the policy minimum requirements and it is balanced. That's all.
Have we received any additional correspondence on the topic? Does anyone wish to comment on the proposed Milwaukie Redevelopment Commission budget?
Checking the email inbox. Looking at Zoom, there's no one in Zoom, and I see no yellow comments.
Does the commission have any questions for staff?
So I guess if we're borrowing 6.5 million and we're spending 6.5 million kind of, and not the increment that's come in, is that by design? Or is that just how much you've decided you're ready to spend in this? Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try my best, and Bonnie might have to help me. So the way we determine the financial forecast is what gave us the $10 million. That based on our projections, we believe you can safely spend $10 million over the next 5 years. So that is what I can take to bond counsel and say, look, I've got this financial analysis. It says I'm good for it. I'm going to bond against this. And then I have the projects that line up that show what we're going to spend. So I'm issuing the debt for the $6 million figure. The funding on top of that is to pay off the debt proceeds and other contractual services that aren't capital. And so that's how we get to that number. I don't wait. I have enough increment now in the account to take out this debt, plus the projections. Like, I'm good. I have my letter from Tiberius that says we're good. You can take out the loan on your house for this amount. I'm pre-approved. All right. I mean, that's the way that I see it. So I'm not waiting for more money to roll in than to proceed. That's not how it works from my understanding. Bonnie, do you want to correct that
no,
at all?
that's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so the intent is really to spend $10 million?
Yes.
So it's $6.5 million in the first 2 years,
That's what I have in this biennium.
Yeah, okay.
Plus I have additional money for debt
Yeah, okay.
payments. Yeah.
Okay. And so that $3 million, whatever.
Is the reserve that I'm spending in the out years.
Okay.
For example, one of those, 1 million of those is for Kellogg. And if we don't get the state partnership or the federal partnership or whatever required to actually get rid of the dam, and we can't spend it. But if it wasn't part of the bond, then we're not in trouble.
Maybe I can, when I come back in September, I'll probably be a little smarter too on where we are with the actual debt issuance. This is my roadmap to the debt issuance, but I think I have a lot more detail to work with finance and bond counsel to answer some of these questions for you.
Any other questions? If there are no more questions, I will entertain a motion to close the public comment part of the MRC budget adoption hearing.
Move to close the public comment part of the hearing on the proposed MRC budget.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to close the public comment part of the hearing on the proposed MRC budget. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. The public comment part of the public hearing on the proposed Biennium 2023-2024 Redevelopment Commission budget is closed. Is there any commission discussion?
Oh, I'm excited to see projects move, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's, all of this is a little magic, right? It's like the concept of these things in general is to cause the value of the city to increase more than what we're spending, therefore bring the tax dollars back to the school district, back to the fire department, back to all those people. And it's just like, best guesses, what people have done before. But it's a pretty sound plan, it looks like, and hopefully it will work.
Take it in 5-year increments.
Yeah.
Fix our mistakes as we go.
All right, is the commission ready to vote?
Sure, I move to approve the resolution adopting the budget for the biennium commencing July 1, 2022, and making appropriations and declaration of tax increment.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution adopting the budget for the biennium commencing July 1st, 2022, making appropriations and declaration of tax increment. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None heard. It passes unanimously. Are there any further commission reports?
No further reports at this time.
It's so funny to me that we just did the whole budget for the city, in, an hour, and we didn't have to do the whole, like, reading things twice and having Scott poll the council. It's so interesting.
Can change the fact that I have to read things twice when we do the charter review, so that would be.
Let's do it. Yeah, it's just funny. It seems so odd to me. Like, here we're committing, we're,
Millions of dollars.
yeah, it's millions of dollars, 2 years of city resources, and it doesn't have all the hoopla that a silly little ordinance change has. So, yeah.
Talk to the charter writers. And probably state law, actually. All righty then, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the commission meeting.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn the commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.